Now this is the workings of the inside of the cab where the operation is all controlled. Got two men that work it. You have an engineer who operates the forward motion, in other words the axle, and then you have a second man who is the fireman, and his responsibility is keeping the fire going and making sure that the water level in the boiler is always adequate. If the water level gets too low in the boiler, the firebox it's a firebox. It comes down in the grates there. Let me get open this just a little bit more. The firebox in there has got a top in it. It comes right across here. Now if something happens that you get in problems and the water level gets too low, there's a plug in the top of that firebox that is filled with like lead, and it gets too hot and then it'll melt before the top of the firebox gets too hot, and so then that'll let the steam down in and put your fire out immediately, so that you don't have a soft top and have an explosion. So that's one of the things. But that's fire. That's where all the wood goes in to create the heat to build the steam from the heat. Now this device over here is what they call the water column, and this tube right here, it indicates exactly where the water level is in the boiler. Now this right here is where I like to keep it at least above this. So right in here in the middle of this gauge is where the operating pressure is, or operating level of the boiler, water in the boiler. And it's tapped in down here, and then it's tapped in up here, so that the water seeks its own level. And then if something happens, suppose you broke this tube, then you've got valves you can close off right here. And then you can say, well, gee, how are we going to know how much water is? That's what these valves are. They open up, and there's a difference when you've got, see, the water, this is steam water, and of course it comes out as steam, but it's actually water, and it has a different texture than when you open this one up here, because it's just dry steam up here. And you can tell right away if you've got enough water. You want to keep it at least at this level here to keep your crown sheet in the firebox from getting too hot. This little valve right here let some of the steam up, and when you're not moving, you need to create a little draft in your stack, in the smokestack, so you can open this and that shoots steam up the stack and creates draft to draw the heat from the boiler, from the firebox up through the tubes. These gauges just tell you what the pressure is in the boiler, and you have two so that in case one again fails, why, you know that they should come up exactly the same pressure, both of them. I just put a new one on here to make sure that that this is one I rebuilt with. So now the operation, of course, we got an extra thing here with the steering wheel. Locomotives don't have steering wheels because they work with the track. The track steers them. So this is an addition that you don't find in a regular locomotive. However, this valve right here is the throttle valve. And the more you pull it towards you, the more steam you're adding to the cylinders. So this is the throttle valve that the engineer uses to control the speed and the load that they're pulling. And then also down here at the bottom is another lever. When you first start your engine, you got to make sure you get the water all out of the pistons, because it condenses. The steam condenses while that piston is cold. So you open these petcock valves, and that lets the water escape, so you don't have a water. The water, it's got to go somewhere, and so I'm trying to think what they call that, water dam or whatever it is. Anyway, so that's what the lever is, to release the condensed water, condensed steam into water. And now these valves here are what operates the injector. and you got two valves. You got a water valve and a steam valve. Now this is the water valve, and you turn it this way to open it, like you would if you were opening a gate valve. And you open this also the same way, and you do it about simultaneously. You turn the steam on a little first, and then you open them both like that. Then that allows the water to be injected into the boiler. And we got the same thing over on the other side, because you need two of them so that in case one fails, you've got a backup. Quite a few things. Down here in the bottom is an ash pit, and that, all the ashes that fall down in the bottom down there. And then there's another trap door right down below this trap door that opens and lets the ashes out. This is for the draft. It's called a draft door, so that if you want to keep your pressure. See, we operate at 100, get it up to 100. If you want to hold it right there without using any steam, then you close off the draft door so that the wood don't burn so hard, just like the draft on the old furnace that we used to use in the farm. So, over here is a hydraulic brake. This I use to it goes up to the front wheels, and so I got some braking, and I'm in the process of building an emergency valve, which will go down and work on the two wheels down here with the air brake, but I'll use steam instead of air. So that's one thing I got to finish yet. So this is the bell. Always got to have a bell to let the people know you're moving into the yard. And the whistle is right through here. I got it off right now, but the whistle, there's another cord just like this that operates the whistle. So, and there's whistle signals that the locomotive people use to identify what they're doing with their operation. Forward, reverse, go, stop, all those different. So they use a whistle to let everybody know what's going on, what they're going to be doing next. So, okay.